everyone! My name is Jenna, but you guys can call me Jen. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new, and welcome to the final video of 2024. We're here. Honestly, what a wild ride. I am so ready for 2025 to start. I just feel the need for a very fresh start right now. I'm manifesting a good 2025, no matter what, it's gonna happen. This is the final video, which I like to devote mainly to my writing wrapped, which I did discuss all my bookish wrapped stuff in my previous video. You can go see that on my channel. And I can tell you as a little update, I did manage to finish 8 series this year instead of just the 6 that I talked about in that video. I did manage to finish 2 more since that video. So what a time, but it's officially December 30th that I am filming this. So we are at the end of the year. Literally nothing can happen in a day in regarding to the rest of this. So we're gonna get into it. I've got my bullet journal from this year where I wrote at the front a couple goals that I had for my writing this year. So let's talk about it, and let's talk about my year in writing for 2024. So the first goal was I put the original title for A Favored Fae, but I wrote Get a Fabled Favor, that was the original title, ready for publication. I did not get A Favored Fae ready for publication. I'm still in the middle of draft 2. This year was the year of missing deadlines. 2023 was the year of hitting deadlines like crazy, left, right, and center. Everything was fucking insane. 2023 was a huge year for me for writing and hitting personal deadlines and getting things out and challenging myself and all that kind of stuff. And then 2024 happened and I got so distracted by so many different things that I just kept missing deadlines. And that kind of is how it's gonna go until the end of the year, obviously, because it's the end of the year. But I feel like it's definitely a sign that I need to rethink the way that I write books and the timelines that I give myself for writing books. Because A Second Story and A Little Luck, which are my 2 cozy fantasies that are out in the world that I published last year, A Second Story in May, A Little Luck in October. The way that I wrote those 2 books, they are both under 80,000 words. And I don't think that is correct for A Little Luck. I think A Little Luck is in the 80,000 word range. They're under 90K. A Second Story is closer to 50K or 60K than anything else. So they're shorter books. They're not very long. They're also not nearly as long of books as I usually write. I am of the 100,000 word mark writers. So writing those books was a lot quicker. It was a lot more accessible for me to be able to get them done in a tighter time span. A Favored Fae, it is so much bigger. Not only in actual like word count, it's gonna be upwards of like 120,000 words. It's gonna be a beefy boy sitting on your shelves, but in scope as well and in story. Because Second Story and A Little Luck are very focused on just the romances. They're very slice of life. They're very straightforward for plot wise. A Favored Fae has got more going on. I have done many different reading vlogs about A Favored Fae and like talking about the breakdown of the story and all that kind of stuff. But like the best way I can describe it is showing you the way that I broke down the timelines. Where's that page? And it's not even breaking down different timelines. It's just breaking down the different plots that are happening in it. Like it just like the different plot lines, the different storylines, the different character stories and arcs and stuff like that. It's wild. And I just kept getting distracted this year by shiny new objects and new projects and new things that were happening. So A Favored Fae got pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed. And I'm okay with that because the work that I did on A Favored Fae this year was very good. I wish, in a perfect world, I would have that second draft finished and it would be off 2 betas and I would be in January starting fresh with a draft 3, but that's not gonna happen. I'm 60,000 words roughly into the second draft of that story after this year not only writing that first draft and then editing it and coming back, like rereading it and coming up with a completely different, breaking it apart kind of a story and realizing what I needed to change in that book and coming back and having these epiphanies and having these like moments where I've literally just cracked the story open. Like the story work that I worked on this year, the amount of creativity that I spent on this project this year is fantastic. I was working on it pretty much all year. In between other things, I was focusing on it. I was not focusing, all that kind of stuff. The amount of like actual conceptual work I've done on this story to make it a better story is great. There's just no quantifiable thing to hold like I had last year when I published my 2 books. So A Favorite Fae is coming in 2025. Do I know when? No. I am gonna have to reevaluate in January when I pick this story back up and start writing it afresh. From the midpoint roughly is where I'm at. So I have half the story to go. I need to reevaluate, one, how long it's gonna take me to write this book, because it is over 100,000 words. I need to reevaluate my timeline for editing, for betas, for everything, and for publishing it specifically, which I think is gonna be a good idea, because the next project that I'm going to be working on, which was another goal of mine this year actually. So the first goal of this failed. I did not get A Favorite Fae up ready for publication, if you will. But I did do good work on it, and I have been working on it all year. So like half the goal was successful. The next one was work on Secret Project. I did not do anything of a Secret Project at all this year. The next one was write draft 1 of Sage's story. I did not. But I did outline and work on the trilogy, which is Sage's trilogy, which is going to be called the Far Horizons trilogy. This is the next project that I'm going to be working on once A Favorite Fae is done and dusted and out in the world. This year, I got so distracted by this story because of this book right here. Empire of Exiles by Erin M. Evans, my favorite book of the year, if you saw that video. One of my favorite books of all time, top 2. Like, it's just one of the best books I've ever read. It cracked open my brain with inspiration for Sage's story. And so after reading this the first time and then rereading it as an author with an author's brain on and like making notes on how Erin was doing her mystery and how everything was laid out, I took all the information I was learning from that and I plotted book 1 of the Far Horizon trilogy. Not only did I do that, I also figured out the trajectory of the trilogy. World built and created this new little section in my world of Revar, because this is following a character that you meet in a second story, my very first book, Sage, who's the bookstore clerk in the first one. She kind of goes on her own adventure in this series here. This is not a cozy fantasy, by the way. This is full epic fantasy, and I'm so excited about it. But I looked at like the trajectory of the story, very basic, and then after that I wrote down quick summaries of each of the books as I wanted them to go, even book 3, which is crazy, and I started planning it. I started building the world, I started creating the characters, and then, you know, just thinking about the magic system that I'm going to introduce in this and the stakes, what's at play in this. And then I started thinking about book 1, specifically with the mystery aspect of it. And I plotted that bad boy from top to bottom pretty much. I started to learn how to write an interconnected series this year, because I've done a standalone series with each book acting as its own story. This year was my year to really just start examining writing a series. So that is the next project I'm going to be working on in 2025. And with the planning and readjusting of my schedule and timeframes that I'm learning with A Favorite Fae, with writing a bigger book like it is, I think going forward, my timeline for the Far Horizons trilogy is going to be stretched, because there's very little way that I'm going to be writing these 100,000 word fantasy books plus, you know, and doing what I want to do with them as well as I can in the year timelines I was giving myself with my Aramount books. With the second story and A Little Luck, each one of those was on a 11-month timeline. So I basically gave myself a 12-month timeline with A Favorite Fae originally, and that is just not how it's gonna go. Like, I've been working on that book now for a year, I think. And it's just gonna take a little longer, and that's okay, because this is me growing as an author. This is me changing and realizing my scope of stories. And it's also a year where I've discovered an interest in writing novellas, but we're gonna get up to that. We're gonna get to that. We're gonna talk about Sage's story for a little bit longer. Sage's story. So this is gonna be an interesting one, namely because this trilogy, I have a hankering to query this and see if I can get it traditionally published, which is very interesting. So, but the way that I want to write this trilogy is I want to write it so that I have all 3 books done, sort of like laid out, written drafts of them, so the story's there, so that I can actively like make sure the whole picture, all 3 books, works together, because I have a fear. I have a fear that if I write book one, get it ready for publishing, and then put it out, and then write book two, and then I think of something that could change in book one, but I can't change it because it's already out, but it's like better. Like, I have a fear of that. So I'm going to try and craft this story in a way, the full 3-book arc, that I can at least have first drafts of all of the books, and then polish the heck out of book one so that I can query that one. And then as I'm querying that one, get book two and book three like ready to go. And I'm giving myself a 6-month timeline, maybe an 8-month timeline to query that book on. I think that might be in 2026. Maybe in 2027, depending on how long it takes me to write those books. But this is where the timeline readjustment is going to be. So 2025, the goals for 2025 are 1, to get A Favored Fae out in the world and finish the Aramount Books trilogy, and also start drafting Sage's story. That's it. Those are my 2 like big novel writing goals for 2025. I'm going to leave the querying aspects and the polishing aspects of this story for 2026, 2027, when I get a better scope and a better idea of how the writing of this trilogy is going to go. So it's going to take a lot longer than I originally planned. That's with Sage's story this year. It was very creatively leaning. Again, like what I talked about with A Favored Fae, I worked so much on this project for like behind the scenes stuff, but I didn't do anything quantitative, you know? Like I don't have a book to show you. I have a couple thousand words in a draft when I originally started drafting that. And I have like this, I guess, like my notebook with all like notes and stuff, but it's just a lot of behind the scenes stuff, which I'm still proud of. But I just have to keep reminding myself that even though I did not actually finish books this year, it's fine. But I guess, okay. So the next goal was outline Sage's trilogy, which I did. So amazing. 1 goal hit. And then I did start live streaming again, which I did not do. I would have loved to, but sometimes you have like the brain space of like actually deciding to sit and work on something every Saturday. Online is a lot of brain space, but maybe in 2025, I don't know. And then the last goal was look into writing grants, which I did earlier this year. I did look into different writing grants, and I did apply for a couple writing grants, which also I think affected my productiveness with A Favored Fae, because I used A Favored Fae for those writing grant applications. I had that project in mind when I was sending in these writing grants, and I applied for 2. One was like a city level, one was a province level kind of a thing. I used A Favored Fae as that project. Because of that, my brain decided that I could not work on A Favored Fae until I got these grants. So I couldn't do it, which is when I really focused on Sage's story. And I then didn't get the grants. So that kind of, you know, when I actually went back to A Favored Fae, it was summer already. Then I had another monkey wrench thrown at me of distraction, which was the Kobo Original Christmas Novella Writing Contest. Or I should say Christmas, like holiday romance novella writing contest. Because I saw that in June and I was like, huh. And then I shot it into my friend group, one of our group chats, like writing specific ones. And I was like, what if I wrote a novella, a romance specific novella for this contest that opens up in like a month and closes in like 3 months. And then I started brainstorming an idea that was quickly derailed because I was brainstorming an Arian Finn novella, which is a fantasy world. And then I re-looked at the rules and it has to be contemporary. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I was like, what if I just did a little bit of a twist and did a baker and a bookstore owner? And then all of a sudden, everything spilled out of me. I had my friends helping me. I think Sophie, and Yeleni, they were helping me with different tropes they really like in romance books, things they expect from a romance, things they expect specifically from a Christmassy romance or a Christmassy book. And Marian Bright was born, my friends. I think this was a fascinating exercise for me because not only was this, first of all, for the Kobo contest, and it had like a word count maximum and minimum, like between 15 and 20K or whatever, which is a very short novella. Very, very, very short. And this one ended up being around 17,000 words. I loved the planning aspect of this and how tight of a story I could write. Because for the longest time, I have been just so in awe of people who can write novellas well, especially something in the fantasy genre. Like fantasy novellas are a whole other ballgame, but I wanted to give a novella a try because not only was it a challenge for me as someone who is an overwriter, but it was also going to be a challenge to be able to pull it off in a short amount of time. I saw it in June when the contest was announced, and I do believe it was closing in August. So I was like, okay, well, I have August 15th, I think it was, as like a deadline, the very, very end deadline as it could be like to submit it. And I was like, okay, let's fucking do this. So I wrote this in a matter of like 2 weeks. Because 17,000 words is very easy for me to crank out really quickly. It's 9 chapters. I had each chapter plotted pretty much down to the bones. I knew immediately who my characters were after the brainstorming session with my friends. I knew the vibe I wanted. I knew close proximity, and I knew because it was a novella, I didn't want to do something like over a long timeline. I wanted it to be over a couple hours because then I could actually get into the moment of it and really see what I could work with the characters. And then I got my friend Yeleni to edit it for me, which was absolutely phenomenal. And now she is going to be my editor for everything, if she's available to edit anything, because I loved the way that she edited this. It was the way that I wanted all the professional editors that I have previously paid for A Second Story and A Little Luck to function, and none of them really did. Yeleni gave it to me with this, so she's my favorite human being. And I'm gonna go forward with her forever and ever and ever, and I love her very deeply. So I had her edit it, and before that I had Ali Beta read it for me, and just like the feedback that I was getting and the way that I was able to craft this story and make it better and work on it for those 3 months that I was working on it, and I got it ready, basically, to submit before the deadline in August, which was so good for my brain and for my knowledge as an author, as a writer, as myself, and like how I create and craft stories. Like the ability to be able to do something like this and have this ready to publish in 3 months was great, truly, which has been so fun. And it has now been out for a little while, and I can only really talk about this bad boy in November and December because it is so specifically Christmassy that I can't really like promote it at any other time of year. But you better believe that next November, I'm going to not stop yelling about this once more, because I not only wrote and did this, I decided, one, because I was gonna do the audiobook for this myself because it was short and whatever, and then I thought about it for like 3 seconds and I was like, my friends are all audiobook people. I do not want to be reading these sex scenes, which the end of chapter 7 into chapter 8 are like the same sex scene, but like over the 2 POVs. There's a sex scene in here. That is my point. I was like, oh, I don't want them to hear me read out the sex scene. That feels incredibly uncomfortable. So I decided I was going to pursue getting a audiobook narrator to narrate this for me. And I did. And there is an audiobook for this now, and it is one of my favorite things I've ever listened to. Auntie Eloise was a perfect narration choice. I found her on TikTok. I just did a little like Google to see if there was anyone in the TikTok area that had, you know, availability, or not even availability, just was a narrator that was like available to hire, essentially, that had a voice that I really liked. And I loved what she did with Jack and Margot. It was so fantastic. And I think, oh my God, I don't even know like how many audiobooks I've sold so far. I think it's 21 copies through Audible alone. And that's not even counting all of the other avenues that I have this audiobook through. So I'm so happy with how that went. Have I made back the amount of money I spent on this book? No, but it's fine because I also learned so much about it. And I also did this cover myself, which was really, really fun. And again, I did all of the like interior, like little doodles and stuff like that all on my own. And I was so happy with this. And this was a complete and utter surprise, out of left field addition to this year, which makes a lot of sense as to why I was so distracted and didn't write any of A Favorite Fae in the middle of the year, which the summer, because I have 2 jobs and I work as a teacher for piano in the school year from September to June. In the summer, I don't have that job. So I only have my my full-time job that I work on during the day. So usually I have so much more time to do my writing stuff, and in the summer is like my best time for writing. This took up my summer, which makes so much sense. Like in retrospect, why I didn't have a lot of like motivation or I had motivation, but I didn't have like a lot of time or brain space for a favorite fae. I did have it throughout the year. It was just dabbled upon. Anyways, this came out this year. So I do have at least one thing that published this year that I am very proud of and I'm very happy with. I love how Canadian it is as well, because a lot of my cozy fantasies, I edit specifically to be in American spelling because Americans are my biggest buyers and my biggest readers. But because this was for a Canadian Kobo contest, I wanted it to ooze Canadian. So there is multiple mentions of toques in here. We have the blizzard. We have the complaints about weather. We have mention of the Duck Mountains. We have as much Canadiana as I could put in here, and I wanted it to also just drip Christmas. And according to Allie, it is 8 out of 9 reindeers Christmassy, which I think is perfect. And all the reviews that I've been getting and seeing people read this over Christmas and absolutely love it has just been so gratifying. And I'm so glad that you guys enjoyed it. Even though I did not win the Kobo contest myself, I am actually kind of glad I didn't, because okay, so it was like the best of both worlds that could happen. So I submitted this in August to the Kobo contest. I got news at the end of August that the contest had a lot more traction than they anticipated and it had a lot more entries than they anticipated. So they needed a couple more days, and the original like 5 shortlisted ones ended up being 11 shortlisted novellas, and Marion Bright was in the shortlist. It was in the top 11 that went to the editors and the acquisitions editor to like decide which one was going to be published. So I got to that point, and then I was like, I don't know if I want to win or not, because if I do win, I can only have this on Kobo. It won't be physical. It won't be on Kindle. It won't be anywhere else. It'll just be a Kobo. But I was very intrigued to go through, like, if I won, I was very intrigued to go through like the publishing process with Kobo just to see how it would go. But this is the best of both worlds. I did it. I submitted for the contest. I got into the short list, and then I got to publish it myself everywhere and do an audiobook for it. And I think that was just the best of both worlds, because now people have a physical copy of Marion Bright on their shelves and have it in their ears with Andy's beautiful voice. And just, I think it was the perfect end for this. But yes, so I did publish something this year, which I wasn't anticipating. And I'm really glad that I did, because it taught me a lot about novellas and is actually going to kind of lead me into some 2025 plans for writing. So, okay, we talked about the goals already, the 2 novel goals for 2025, which is to publish a favorite fae, whatever the fuck that happens. It's happening in 2025. And also to start drafting Sage's story, Far Horizons, and start focusing on the Far Horizons trilogy. In between all of that, I have plans to do some novellas. Basically because I learned so much with this and I realized how quickly I could get this done, that I now have another contemporary novella in my head that I think is going to be really fun. I'm gonna have to work on it relatively early in the year though, because it is a Halloween novella, which very fun and spicy. So that's on the docket. And I also have a like wintry holiday novella for my boys in mind, for Ari and Finn from A Second Story. So that's 2 novellas that I would love to work on next year and potentially publish in the latter half of the year. So not only am I going to be publishing a favorite fae next year and also working on Sage's story, I'm going to be working on 2 different novellas that I think will be not as much of a load for myself to do in between everything else. But number 1, before I work on anything else, it's a favorite fae, and that's coming out for you guys next year. If you saw my wrap up last year, I got the idea from a YouTuber that I used to watch very regularly. I got the idea from them last year that they usually do like a final wrap up where they talk to their future self and then revisit a past self to see how like that conversation went and answer questions and stuff like that. So I have my video from last year queued up, and we are going to do a little bit of a blast from the past, Jen, and then we're going to talk a little bit to 2025, Jen, at the end of this. Hey, future self. Hey, girl. How are you? It's officially December 30th, 2023. It's officially December 30th, 2024. Wow, I did not plan that at all. I'm doing okay. I think today has been an interesting day. I had some interesting feelings as I was going around today, but overall, I think we're doing okay. I think we're doing pretty okay.
I am 26 years old.
I am 27 years old.
Published so many goddamn things. I have 2 books out in the Aramount book series and 2 short stories out, one of them in the Aramount world and one of them in a horror type of genre.
Girly pop, I'm so proud of you and what you did last year. I still can't believe it. I still can't believe 2023 exists, and the fact that I not only became a published author, which has been my dream since I was a little kid, but I did it twice and also published 2 short stories. Bananas.
How was your year?
My year was okay. I mean, we spent this whole video talking about it, so viewers know, but it was definitely less of an organized year than 2023, and I don't have as much to show for it for all the work that I did this year, but I did do a lot of work. I did end up publishing a novella, which is really cool, in a genre that I never thought I'd ever write in, which is just contemporary romance, which is pretty cool. I did set out to do a couple, like, challenges this year that I didn't end up completing, namely the 100,000 words in Q4 that was hosted by Kate Kavanaugh. I did try, I think I got like 30K into that or something close to that, I'm not sure, but I did try and then I petered out, but that's okay. It's been a year of a lot of creativity and a lot of like bursts of it in different places, but I'm very interested to see how 2025 goes and to see kind of if I can get back on a really productive train like I was last year. Maybe not as intense as last year though, because last year was a lot, girl. It was so much.
How was your writing year? Did we end up publishing Project Favor this year or
no? No, we don't even have a second draft done yet.
Did we decide to give ourselves more time and publish it in spring? So are you gearing up for publishing?
Well, since we only have like half of a second draft, it's probably not going to be published in the spring. So we're giving ourselves even more time. I'll skew it that way.
How is the secret project going?
I haven't touched it.
Also, I am desperate to know what book 3 for Aramount Books looks like.
Oh girl, you don't even know. I got an update from my cover artist the other day. It's not done, but I can already tell you that it's my favorite cover of the 3.
How was your reading this year? I know that's not what this video is for, but how did your reading go?
It was pretty good. The top half of the year was definitely a lot stronger than the second half of the year, but we did end up finding 2 new favorite books of all time, which is awesome. So overall, pretty good, pretty positive.
Did you find any brand new favorite books of all time to add to that list of yours?
Yes!
I know that this year we discovered that Gideon the Ninth was our favorite book of all time upon 3rd reread, which bumped The Starless Sea out of that spot. But did we end up actually rereading The Starless Sea this year, or was that in your reading plans? I'm not sure because it's not in my reading plans as of right now, but I know that 2023 me would love to reread that book at some point and see if it still stands as one of my favorite top books of the ever.
2024, Jenna would like to reread it at some point too, but I have not.
So that'd be really cool. How was your reading journal? How did that go?
It was something. I successfully got halfway through the year of properly using this bad boy and scrapbooking the hell out of it, and it was so much fun when I was doing it, but I got really burnt out halfway through the year because it was a lot. It was a lot of work, and over the past few reads I have done nothing other than print out cover thumbnails. So our plan for next year is a little different, so stay tuned for that.
Did we do work on Sage's story? I think I would love to have done at least the first draft. Did we do more than that? Did we end up doing second drafts, third drafts? How are we doing with Sage's story? How is it looking for publishing?
No, I mean, we did work on Sage's story a lot. It was very creative this year, very creative leaning, lots of brainstorming, all that kind of stuff. We do have an outline for the entire trilogy, but we do not have a draft yet.
Outside of writing and more life stuff, are we still working as a teacher? Do we still have the 2 jobs? Because I know at this point in my life, I am getting tired of being a teacher.
Yeah, we're still a teacher. We are currently working towards finding a new job in 2025. Not because I've lost a job or anything, just for a change up, for a change in routine, that kind of a thing. Potentially better benefits, better pension plan, all that kind of stuff, you know, adult stuff. And we are still teaching, and we do still plan on staying a teacher for a while, just because, yeah, I'm so fucking tired of teaching, but I also do enjoy it. And I kind of fear the day that I give that up, because I've been teaching for 14 years. Some of my kids probably would stop taking piano if they didn't have me as a teacher, and I don't want to do that to them because they're all very good and very talented. So we are still a teacher. Still there.
We've been a teacher for how many years now? 12 at this point. I'm a little tired. I'm not gonna lie. I'm
13 years now. I said 14. 13. I started when I was 14 years old. 13 years.
I hope that you are happy still. I hope that you are not beating yourself up for anything. And I hope that even if dating in 2024 doesn't go the way we want it to at the moment, that you are still happy with who you are, because that is the most important part and the most important place to be in our lives. Because I think that's something that I've realized. I'm getting a little emotional. Oh no. I think that's one thing that I've realized this year, is that I'm okay with being just me. Even though it hurts a little bit. I can't believe I'm gonna put this on the internet.com, but I hope you're happy. Future me. That's really it. Because I am happy now. So even though this doesn't really look like I'm happy, I promise I am.
I am happy. I say that sounding so dejected. For the majority of this year, I was very happy, very in a good spot and that kind of stuff. Of course, life has ups and downs and whatever. When we turned 27, I kind of fell into a rut that just was weird. It was a weird anxiety rut, a weird depression rut, a weird life rut. Not that I was looking to change anything in my like creative life or anything like that, or like content creation life or author life or anything, but just the way that life felt stagnant. And I'm still kind of dealing with that. It's not as strong anymore. We've put things in place that hopefully 2025 changes and life kind of keeps moving forward in a different way. But yeah, as for the dating thing, it really did not go how we wanted it to go this year. I set out a goal to go on 5 dates, which is a lot for me, but it took until November to even get someone on a dating app, because dating apps are trash fire, to be able to hold a conversation with me on the dating app long enough for one of us to ask the other out. It took until November for me to have my first date of 2024, which is a little insane. And that isn't working out. It's just no, you know? I want to be with someone who wants to be with me and wants to learn about me and is interested in me and ask me questions about myself and, you know, actually carry on conversations with me and like is interested in my life and who I am and what I'm interested in and my passions and my writing and my stories and books and stuff like that, because I can only give so much of that interest towards someone who doesn't give me anything back before I'm just done. So we are ending the year single yet again. We are ending the year having had a weird year on the dating apps. I think they're just getting worse and worse as every year goes by. They're just not a fun place to be, but that's really the only place we can meet people. None of our friends have people they can connect us with. So yeah, I am happy. I am content with where I'm at. I wish a few things had gone differently this year and I wish I had more to show for it, but like, that's how life works, you know? I still did a good amount of work. I'm still happy with my creative stuff. I'm still happy with my YouTube and all that kind of stuff. I mean, I got monetized this year, even though I fucked up the monetization and I haven't been monetized for like a month now. I got monetized, which was a huge goal. And I mean, we've been on YouTube. I've been on YouTube for 5 years now, which has been really, really fun. It's been an interesting year.
I'm proud of the content that I've filmed and that I've put on the internet this year. I hope that you are still proud of that and that you've done some cool stuff this year. I hope that you are in a place with your content, TikTok and YouTube, that you are happy to be, not necessarily numbers wise, but just like community-wise and engagement-wise, and the amount of people that you've met through the year, because I can say genuinely this year I have met and had incredible conversations with so many beautiful, wonderful people on the internet that I would have never met if it wasn't for the internet and what we are doing. So
yeah, I am happy with how this year went. I met a couple new friends through the internet this year that I have regular conversations with. The internet is such a cool place. Like, the fact that I was able to meet Allie through Allie and Lindsay and a couple others, like, through the internet, and be able to like keep a connection with them and relate on different things and have conversations about different stuff. And it's not just a like viewer commenting on a video. It's actually like conversations on different apps and like supporting each other's content and work that they do and all that kind of stuff. Like, it's just so cool. It's just so cool.
Yes, okay. I think that's everything I wanted to say. Hopefully 2024 me, you are not a sobbing mess as I am right now, but I really hope that we've had a great year and that the world is also a less terrible place, because I know looking back at 2022 me, she had no idea what 2023 was going to be and what the world was going to go through. I really hope that the world has kind of gotten a little better. But
oh, 2023 me, you have no idea.
Anyways, Jen, I hope you have a lovely end of your year whenever you're watching this. I hope your 2025 when you're watching this goes well. And for my friends currently watching this, watching me break down, thank you so much for watching. And
well, past Jen, thank you for that. Definitely was, yeah, wow. Past me had some interesting insights and thoughts, and yeah, I think she was more, wow, I feel so like bitter. I feel so bittersweet now, because past me was so ready for 2024 and to see what 2024 did. And it's not like I didn't do anything this year. It just is less than I thought it was gonna be. But it was still fantastic. Like, I just have to remember that I did so many different things. Like, I set out a personal goal to see my friends twice a month, and I definitely did that. Because social battery is tiny. I got onto the Writing About Dragons and Shit podcast this year, and that was absolutely amazing. Not only am I now acquainted with Erin M. Evans and Trevor Bettis, I am in their Discord and I talk to them all the time, and I'm on the fucking book club for Empire of Exiles podcast episodes. I have sold so many books this year. I'm still here. Last year I did mention that I was so scared that I was gonna be like lost a little bit with not publishing a book this year. And that fear is still kind of there, because I know you gotta stay up to, you know, the craziness of the world. But I did publish a novella this year, and I did stay pretty relevant with my cozy fantasy books. Yeah, what else did I do this year that's like other things that I can mention? I went on a road trip with my friends, which was really fun. I entered in for those writing grants, even though I didn't get them. That's pretty cool. the Kobo contest didn't come to anything, but I still got a novella out of it, and I'm really proud of that. I'm proud of everything I did with that. I'm really proud of the work that I was doing story work-wise this year, even though there's not as much as I wanted to have to show for it this year. I still am proud of it, and it's just trying to remember that this time of year, I'm not my happiest. We're going into January, which is usually my pretty big brainworm morps season, because resolutions and reflecting makes me a little cynical. But I'm still happy with everything that happened this year. I learned how to tapestry crochet. I started to learn how to knit. I've done so much. I've done so much crafty shit. I've done so much. I've done a lot. I've done a lot this year that I'm very happy with. I've found a little bit more of my soul in the crafty, cozy areas of life. And 2025 me, I don't know. I'm gonna try to keep this short because we've already been here for a while, but hey, 2025 me, how are things? It is officially December 30th here. What day is it for you there? Has it been a good year? Overall, vibe-wise, hopefully, life-wise, it's been pretty okay. What can I ask? We'll start with writing first. How did A Favorite Fae work out this year? Have you got that baby out in the world. Please tell me you have, because, oh my God, please tell me it's out in the world. Please tell me people are loving it. Please tell me people are falling in love with Mary and Zanvi, because yes, I need people to know them. I need people to see them. I need people to read them and have their story. I just need me to get it out. Did you end up writing 2 novellas this year? If not, did you end up at least writing one or working on one? Which one did you work on? How fun was it? Did you learn anything new? How is Sage's story going? Have you figured out a new timeline for that? Hopefully. I hope it's going well. I hope you're enjoying it, and I hope you're enjoying the mystery of it all. And I hope just overall with your writing that you are happy with where you are at with the craft of it. And it's something I don't really talk about enough, is where I'm at with the craft of writing and how I feel with that whole thing, with getting better with my writing, with getting better with my editing and all that kind of stuff, and storytelling, and getting towards this place of being an author. That's what I wanted to ask, is just really like, how do you feel about your writing this year? Do you feel like you've learned anything new? Do you feel like you've gotten better? Yeah. Life-wise, do you have a new job? Please tell me you have a new job. Please tell me you have a job that pays better. Do you have a cat? Oh my God, show me your cat. I want to see them. I'm so excited. I really want a cat. And I'm gonna get one in the new year, I think. Hopefully that is good and going okay, and you love them to pieces. What's their name? What did you end up naming them? I would love to see them. How was your wisdom teeth surgery? I know that that's coming up at some point. I gotta schedule that in the new year. Oh, fuck. Fun times. That's not gonna be a fun time. That's not gonna be a fun time at all. How are your friends? Any new things happening? I know Cass is getting married in June. How was that? Was the wedding wonderful and everything you wanted to just have her go through? Oh, I really hope so. I'm so excited for that wedding. Oh my God. Is there any other weddings on the horizon? I feel like we're getting into wedding season very soon with our friends, so hopefully there's more to look forward to. And I guess on the topic of love, how's that going? Because currently we are in the trenches. Are we still in the trenches? Oh my God, I really hope, girl. I really hope we're not still in the trenches, because fuck, if we don't deserve love, I'm gonna put it out in the universe, because I feel like it just needs to be said and like manifested somehow. But I know that we deserve a love that makes us feel like we are the most special person in the world. Like, the way that I want to be wanted is a little insane. But it's also not insane. Like, I want a romance. I want to be loved. I want a relationship that feels like a Sunday where you do nothing. Like that song, I want a Sunday kind of love. I want that kind of a love. I want a partner. I want a best friend. I want someone who cares about me, you know? I really hope 2025 is that year that we're no longer lonely, because I think that's really what hit me today. I didn't think I was gonna cry. Oh my God. It hit me today that just, it hit me a few weeks ago too, or a week or whatever ago, when I came back from the date with that guy and I sobbed on the floor for an hour or whatever. Not even because the date was bad, just because I just want to be someone that someone cares enough about to get to know. I want... God, I want to be wanted. I just want to be someone that someone else out there like cares enough about, and I just don't want to be lonely anymore. God, 2025, me? My phone died. So I'm not a sobbing mess anymore, but 2025 me. I hope that you are... I used happy so much in the last time that I did this in 2023. I do hope you're happy. Of course I hope you're happy. I hope that you are more content with how your life is right now, because I know that this year we had an interesting vibe change around our birthday. It was a weird time to have your quarter life crisis kick in at 27, but I hope that 28 didn't come with a midlife crisis at the same time. I hope that that feeling of stagnancy in love, in your job life, in life in general, doesn't still linger I hope that it has changed a little bit and that you feel like you are still moving forward. Because right now, we don't feel we feel a little stagnant. We do feel a little stagnant. I need a change. I need an uprooting. Maybe that's why I want a cat. I just need something new. But God, I hope you're not lonely anymore. And I hope you have a good year. I hope you have a wonderful 2026 as you're looking at this, 2026, bananas. And I hope you had a wonderful year in 2025, that you can look back at it and be very happy with how things have gone on. That is what I hope for you, because what else can we really ask for? And to those of you who are watching now, if you made it to the end of this video, thank you so much for watching. I know it's been a long one, but I just had apparently a lot to say. Didn't think I was going to, but I apparently did. And I am proud of you, dear viewer, for getting through this year. We got through another year. I'm so glad you were here. We're gonna fucking do it again. Be kind to yourself and just let yourself grow as you do and as you need to, because life is hell sometimes, but we're still here. We're still doing it. So anyways, friends, thank you so much for watching, and thank you for being with me for all of 2024. And I hope to see you continue to be with me for 2025. I'll catch you in another video very soon. Stay kind and keep on reading.